This is Second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Yahweh, being in the name of God, who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashem, in the name Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Again, it's not God, it's not Jesus Christ. It's Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Those are the true names of the Heavenly Father and His Son. And those are the names you are going to need to call on in these times to come and save you. Ain't no other name given among men whereby we must be saved. The only true name is going to save you is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. And they're coming back to redeem the 1/3 of the elect, which you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians. And 2/3 are slated for sore destruction. This your brother Shatak Shar. And I'm coming back with another quick lesson. Basically going into, man, for these days, it's the day of vengeance. Where Yahweh Bashar Shai is going to repay, vengeance to the ungodly, man. Yahweh Bashar Shai is going to brutally annihilate these other nations, But reading this in 2nd Ezra 9:1, it says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. How do you measure the time? By paying attention. Watching news, having certain news breaks on your phone, basically being active and watching and seeing what the world is doing, and lining it up with the scriptures. We see uproars of the people, we see earthquakes, we see strong storms, hidden places, and people dying of horrific deaths. These are the beginning of sorrows, man. And Yahweh Shema Shah is coming to visit the place to punish it, and repay vengeance to the ungodly. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So Yahweh Shema Shai is going to return and visit this place. Visit goes into punish, man. You see? For these be the days of vengeance. You see? Verse 3, it says, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and we seen uproars, people marching, having these, marching parades and seeing what LA was doing up there, earthquakes, we having earthquakes every day, you see. But these be the days of Yahweh Bashar Mashah where he finna visit this place, man. And this world need it. There ain't no sugarcoating, because the wicked is ruling. Let's get Ecclesiastes 12:6. It says, For the Most High hateth sinners, and he will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. So Yahweh Bashar Mashah is finna repay that vengeance unto the ungodly. They finna get brutally beaten by Yahweh Bashar Mashah. It says, And he keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. That terrible and dreadful day is vastly approaching. This is why you got to come out of Babylon the Great, that way you won't be partakers of her sins. You see, this is why Yahweh Shemashah is calling out to his people to, turn back unto him, because he's finna bring vengeance to the ungodly, man. And as for the ones that's joining hand in hand with Esau, Edom, they're gonna fall right along with them, And also, Yahweh Shemashah have assembled all these nations to come to war. This is why you need to wait on the Lord, because, hey, this is the Lord, vengeance. This is the Lord get back, It seemed like the world forgot who they are dealing with. And this world have mocked and threw down Yahweh Shemashah each and every day, man. Mocking Yahweh Shemashah, he's through the roof with this place, It says, for the Most High hateth sinners and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. You see, and that's what these be the days of vengeance, man. And he keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. That terrible end of their kingdom going down. And then the ones that be left and remain, because they're going to go into hiding, which is these wicked elites, they're going to go into chains, man. You see? Hey, but we don't need Yahweh Shemashah more than ever, This is Luke 21 and 22. It says, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Everything coming to pass, man. Martial law, Jacob's trouble, the sea hip, Esau kingdom being destroyed, then put into chains. Everything's finna be fulfilled. Prophecy. And prophecy is flying off the pages, man. So better it is for you to join yourself in Yahweh Shemashah. That way you can be protected. I did a lesson and went in Zephaniah 2 and 2. Gather yourself before judgment begins, man. And everything that y'all see is like rumors of wars. Ain't nothing really happening yet over here in Babylon the Great. Of course, it is over there across seas, but it haven't touched Babylon the Great yet. But soon will. So now you still have time to seek out Yahweh Shemashah, man, for the ones that don't know Yahweh Shemashah, man. The internet's still working. Brothers are still putting up videos. You see, brothers are still on the highways and byways, man. You still have time before shit hit the fan. And you don't want Amos 8 and 11 to hit. You don't know which way to go, which way to turn. You're going to be trying to seek the word of Yahweh Shemashah and ain't going to find it, man. Now is to take that time out now to sup with the Lord. Investigating this truth, man. Because the times we coming into is going to be real gruesome, real dark and chaotic. It's going to be the terrible and dreadful. That's why it said terrible and dreadful day. It's vastly approaching, man. Let's get this is Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up against the prey. So you need to wait on Yahweh Shemashah. He's our mighty hero. He's our man of war. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour out upon them mine indignation, that furious anger, that righteous anger, man, from Yahweh Shemashah. That's why he's assembling these nations to come to war. Because all these nations is going to get judged by Yahweh Shemashah. You see? It says, even all my furious anger for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. You know, that mushroom cloud, that nuclear missile. And it's going to be straight missiles being shot off, man. This is that terrible and dreadful day of Yahweh Shema Shah. And it's prepared for the ungodly. The instruments of death for the persecutors. And we know who that is. Esau Edom. You see? That's why he bringing all these nations to war. To judge them and destroy them, man. This is Jeremiah 51:6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon. That don't mean get yourselves out of Babylon the Great, but rather so be inside this ministry of Yahweh Shema Shah. Get your mind and spirit on Yahweh Shema Shah and get your mind and spirit out of Babylon the Great, or what they have to offer. Don't have a care in the world for Babylon the Great, man. Don't be worrying about what these wicked motherfuckers got going on. You see? And all these traditions of men come out of her. That way you won't be partakers of her plagues and judgment, man. Because Yahweh Shema Shah is going to judge this place. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul for not. It said, be not cut off in her iniquity, meaning sin. You know? It says, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. This is Yahweh Shema Shah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. It says in NLT, it says, flee from Babylon. Save yourselves. Don't get trapped in her punishment, man. Don't get trapped in that punishment. Stop joining hand in hand with Esau Edom. They're going to lead you down to destruction, to a slaughter. You're going to be judged right along with Esau Edom if you continue to join hand in hand with Esau Edom. It says, it is the Lord's time for vengeance, and he will repay her in full. And we about to witness. You know, that terrible and dreadful day is going to be so dark, so gruesome. You know, which is going to be a beautiful time, but yet a scary time too as well, man. You know, and in Ecclesiastes 18:24 it says, think upon the wrath of the Most High that should be at the end, when he should turn away his face, man. The time is going to be changed. Now it's that time to redeem the time and make your every opportunity in this truth. Knowledge and wisdom should be the stability of our times, man. Now it's time to be in tune with your power. That way he can bestow upon you the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the scriptures. That way you can have those scriptures implanted in your mind, you know, and saying certain prayers, you know. Let's get this is 1 Peter 4:7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. It says in the NLT, it says the end of the world is coming. The end of Esau's world is coming, man. Coming soon. It says, therefore be earnest and disciplined in your prayers. You see, you know, be more disciplined, knowing certain prayers that you need, you know, that can benefit you in the times to come as well, that you can know about heart, that you can say, and you'll be comforted, you know. Because Yahweh Shema Shah is coming to judge this world, to bring this wicked kingdom, this wicked world to an end. He's coming to pay revenges to the ungodly, to remove and uproot the wicked from out the earth. Esau Edom's finna be uprooted. That means the roots, the vines, everything within that root is going to be removed, man. That way, that wicked root cannot no more flourish. You see? It's just like when you remove a plant from its place and you pluck up all the vines and the roots, that plant gonna no more grow. And out in Yahweh Shemashah is gonna remove Esau Edom forcibly by war and violence, forcibly removing from power. You know. You can get one more. You can get one of my favorites, man. I get two more. Let's get this is Zephaniah 1:14. It says, the great day of Yahweh is near, it is near, and in haste of greatly. The day of the Lord is vastly approaching, man. It says, even the voice of the day of Yahweh, the mighty man should cry there bitterly. You know, and that's the Esau's military. They're gonna be crying there bitterly. It says, verse 15, it says, that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, and a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick smoke, man. So, hey, this time is gonna be real gruesome, man, real chaotic havoc. A lot going on, man. Sirens going off, people yelling and screaming, dead bodies everywhere, arms everywhere, brains splattered out. You know, the Lord is finna pour out his anger upon the earth. Everybody's finna witness that power of Yahweh Shemashah once again. You see, it says that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress. People screaming at the top of their lungs. People hearts failing them for fear. It says a day of wasteness. He finna make this place desolate without an inhabitant. It says in desolation, man. A day of darkness and a day of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick smoke. Every eye should see Yahweh Shemashah. Revelations 1:7. You see? In that time, hey, man. Hey. If you want to be hid in a day of judgment, in a day of destruction, gather yourself in Yahweh Shemashah, man. It says a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities. People ringing the sirens, ringing them alarms. It says against the high towers. You see, everybody's getting prepared for war. It says, verse 17, it says, I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men. People gonna be running, not nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. People ain't gonna know which way to go. They gonna be running around like chickens with their heads cut off, man. It says, because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Man, there's gonna be so many dead bodies, man. Everywhere. You just gonna be walking around amongst dead bodies. You know? Verse 18, it says, neither shall their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. So money ain't gonna be able to buy yourself out of this destruction, out of this punishment. It says, but the whole land shall be devoured by fire of his jealousy. Ooh, Yahweh Bashem Hashah. He's finna rebuke with his flames of fire. It says, for he shall make an even a speeding riddance of them that dwell in the land. And that's Babylon the Great. He started Edom, man. You know? And after this destruction, they ain't gonna go into hiding. They ain't gonna go into hiding. This is Jeremiah 16. This is Jeremiah 16 and 16. It says, for behold, I will send for many fishers, and they, saith Yahweh, and they shall fish for them. Who? The elect. And that's what we're fishing for. The elect. What's the bait? Is knowledge and wisdom. The gospel. It says, and after I will send for many hunters. You know, there was battle axes and weapons of war. You know, the men of Yahweh Bashem Hashah, man. Certain men of the Lord is going to get spiritual power. You know, it says, after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill out of the holes of the rocks, because they going to go into hiding. You see, they going to go into hiding. You know, they going to go into hiding, man. They're going to be so terrified. This is Amos 9 and 1. It says, I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last with the sword. You see, that nuclear missile. It says, and he that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. So this destruction, this nuclear warhead, most is not going to be, be able to be delivered, but only the elect. Many ain't going to be able to go into hiding. A lot going to be destroyed by that nuclear missile. You see? And this is what's going to make the foundation to shake, this earth to shake, this nuclear missile, man. It says, verse 2, and though they dig into hell, right, they got all these underground bunkers, these nuclear bunkers. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up into heaven, they've got these space stations. Thence will I bring them down. Yahweh Bashem Hashah is going to bring them down. You know, Yahweh Bashem Hashah, man, is not going to let them escape from his sight. They going to be able to... It's just going there saying, can any hide from Yahweh Bashem Hashah? No. We know can't no one hide from Yahweh Bashem Hashah. So they ain't going to be able to hide nowhere. That's why he said he's going to send for many hunters. We're going to be pulling them out of these underground bunkers. Yahweh Bashem Hashah going to bring them down from these space stations that they got prepared for this destruction. Why they think they got it and flee, what that flee from the iron weapon. This is Job 20 and 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall be upon him. You see, when they think they're in a good case, when they thinking they secure and protected, Yahweh Shemashah gonna rain down that wrath upon them. You see, Yahweh Shemashah gonna have that mighty wrath, that destruction. You know, it says when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast his fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You see, when they think they in a good case, and then they think they got the whole world see hip, you think they got it going on, they got everybody in the trick bag. No, Yahweh Shemashah got you in the trick bag. You know, he's finna destroy your kingdom. He's finna forcibly remove you from power, man. You know, and they gonna try to flee, right? It says, and he shall flee from the iron weapon, which is that nuclear missile, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. You know, they gonna be torn into pieces, man. You see? It says, and it draws and cometh out of the body. Yeah, that's that fire. Yeah, the glistening sword, that nuclear missile, cometh out of her gall. You know, the silos. You see? Terrors are upon him. You know, terrors of death. It says in the NLT, it says, when they try to escape an iron weapon, a bronze tippled arrow will pierce them. You know, that's the nuclear missile. It says the arrow is pulled from their back and the airhead engulfs with blood. The terrors of death are upon them, man. You know, these wicked motherfuckers is not finna escape their punishment. They gonna try to go into hiding. But hey, they ain't gonna be able to hide. You see? Yahweh Shemashah is not finna acquit the wicked. Yahweh Shemashah is finna bring a terrible end, you see, upon them. So with that, I hope this, lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Akafudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone.